Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silent reflection for our servicemen and women throughout the world, and for those who have passed away in our community, especially Joanne Mulholland, Jack Kelly, and Jimmy Teig. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Present.
Mr. Schuster?
Present.
Dr. Rothchild? Here. Mr. McAndrew?
Present.
Mr. Smurl?
Here.
I'd like to make a motion, take from the table file Council number 42 of 2024 as amended.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second to take from the table file of Council number 42, 2024 as amended and place in seventh order for a final vote. This ordinance is the City of Scranton operating budget for 2025. Dispense with 3 minutes.
Third order, 3A, minutes of the Board of Ethics meeting held September 18th, 2024. 3B, correspondence received from City Business Administration December 2nd, 2024, regarding updated payroll preparation tax collections as of November 26th, 2024.
Are there any comments on any of the third order items? If not, received and filed. Do any council members have any announcements at this time?
I have a couple. So, first off, I would like to announce that the Scranton Police Department is having a rescheduled Toys for Tots event at Barletta's, December 6th, at 5 o'clock, and if you would, at Oak Street, if you would please bring an unwrapped toy. And the DJ will be Danny Kaye. And then second, friendly reminder, last week I mentioned excuse me, that my family's having our annual, it's the 11th annual Cookies for Kids Cancer fundraiser. It's a bake sale slash Sunday with Santa with ice cream. And what happens at this is we raise money, and the money goes towards less toxic treatments for poor kids with cancer. Because usually the treatment is the biggest struggle for these kids that have cancer. So in addition to that, we have the proceeds go to this company that develops better research or safer research and treatments for children, but we try to pick someone in the community that we can give half to. And this year, and you know, sometimes sometimes we don't like finding someone. That's a good thing, but we found a young man who's 19. He's not a kid, but in my eyes, 19 is still a kid, that was diagnosed recently with stage 4 leukemia. He's from the Mid-Valley area. His name's Eddie Kaufman. He's a great athlete. He's struggling. So we're half the proceeds that we're going to raise is going to go to him and his family because they really need it. And so what's going to happen, we have cookies pre-boxed by the dozen, and then we'll have, like I said, Sundays. We have Santa Claus, you can get your picture taken, it's free. Our digital communications class up at the Career Technology Center is going to take the picture. Our print production class is going to print the pictures and give them to you. We have also have a gift certificate board where, if you're familiar with that, there's gift certificates in an envelope, and you pay $20, and the gift certificate inside is either $25 or more. So we'd appreciate if you can come and help us out and help this poor family out, and of course help the little warriors that are fighting cancer. And in addition to that, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, and most of all, have a happy, healthy New Year. And that is all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. Smurl, I would like to thank Mr. McAndrew and his family and all the students at the CTC. I know they've been doing this for years, and it takes a lot of time and effort but they raise a lot of money for a great cause, so I want to thank everyone that's involved with that project.
Thank you.
It's outstanding, and I want to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Hope everyone has a peaceful, happy, healthy holiday season.
I also wanted to just wish everyone a happy holiday season, since this will be our last meeting before the new year, and hope everyone, stays safe, enjoys it with their family. It's a great time of year to do great things for others, just like Councilman McAndrew is doing. So, hope people take that as inspiration.
I guess at this time, I should say Merry Christmas to everyone out there as well. So Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Fourth order.
Fourth order, citizen participation.
First, Joan Hodowanis.
Joan Hodowan at Scranton. First, a public service announcement of my own. In this morning's paper, in the legals, there were two announcements. One, that the county commissioners' meeting was rescheduled to December 11th. That is not true. It's tomorrow, December 4th at 10 o'clock in their conference room. And that the prison board was rescheduled to December 11th. That also was not true. It is still on December 18th. I called and spoke to Pat McKenna, and he said that those announcements were printed in error, and there will be a correction tomorrow morning, but a lot of people may miss it. So it's tomorrow if you want to go to the county commissioners meeting. Also, the Friends of the Scranton Public Library are conducting their December book sale at the marketplace at Steamtown, right in front of the Crunch Gym. It started today and it runs through Saturday. So you can get some great buys, buy children's books as Christmas gifts or all kinds of gifts, so they're there. So what is the status of the 2023 audit?
I have not
Remember
received.
the one that was due on September 30th?
Yes, I have not received it. Any information.
Okie dokie, I didn't think you would. And what is the status of the police union's contract? It's still not on the website.
No, not until they compile everything together.
Okay, and is DPW still in negotiations for their contract?
I believe so, as
Yeah,
far
because
as
their
I know.
contract expires at the end of this month. And, oh yes, and I guess you were all very happy to see that the sale of Commonwealth Health's hospitals, basically regional and Moses Taylor, has stopped, which means that you still are going to have taxes coming from those two institutions next year, unless somebody wants to scarf them up at a fire sale, who knows. But that would, that in a sense is good news. Has anybody got a quote for how much money that they will bring in taxes next year?
John, I thought it was 800 and some thousand for the city.
It's about $856,000, I think.
And 1.2 for the
If
school
we were to realize the taxes for the full year, it's around $856,000.
I don't think the sale that was proposed is going to be resurrected, but there may be somebody else interested.
That money was, that revenue was not built into.
I know, I mean,
Yeah.
in a sense, that's good news, it's like frosting on the cake now. But, I mean, it's good news and bad news, because the bad news is when they go for profit, their focus will change to profit rather than patient care, and as the newspaper pointed out very correctly. So, and I am still burning up with anger right now because President Biden went back on his word that he would not pardon his son. And most especially, I'm angry because I've been paying taxes since I'm 17. But apparently, his son is not going to have to pay the $1.4 million in taxes that he owes. That also is being forgiven. And so my recommendation to you is you give very serious consideration to renaming Biden Street Spruce Street. And I do hope that Mr. Biden doesn't have the gall to set foot in this city again. What he's done is he slapped every citizen, tax-paying citizen in this country right in the face. I think he intended to do this all along, and as far as I'm concerned, his hypocrisy is beyond the pale. You know, you may disagree with me, but 1.4 million. When is the last time you were forgiven your taxes? Thank you.
Thank you, Joan. Les Spindler?
Good evening, Council. Les Spindler, city resident homeowner. Well, Joan stole my thunder. I was going to talk about the hospitals not being sold now. I heard that on the news, I think it was last week. Well, it's good that we're still going to be collecting taxes from them. And just one other thing. I was just wondering, is the Friendship House a nonprofit? Does anybody know? Sure. So they got the new building downtown, took away all the businesses on that half a block that were there, that were tax-paying entities. When are we going to stop giving properties away to all these nonprofits? Pretty soon we're not going to be collecting any taxes from businesses, and it'll be all nonprofits in this city. It's getting out of control. I mean, it's the colleges, and then there's hospitals, and now the Friendship House. When's it going to stop? It's just unbelievable. We have to pay taxes, but all these nonprofits, I don't know how to consider nonprofits. They make millions and millions of dollars, and they get away with not paying taxes. It's just out of control. They've been doing this for years and years and years. I've said the university and all the other colleges that we get a mere pittance from them compared to the money they make. And they should be giving the city a lot more. It's just out of control. It's got to stop. I guess that's all I have tonight. And wish everybody happy holidays and happy New Year. And we'll see you next year.
Thank you. Bob Bolus?
Evening, Council. Bob Bolus, Scranton. Last week, I donated out 1,500 turkeys for those in need here in the city of Scranton. I was assisted with Rob Bresnahan, Congressman-elect, Commissioner Chris Chermak, fellow Masons, vets, and employees. While I gave out, and we gave out, the turkeys, Gahan and McGloin gave out a 33% tax increase Thanksgiving gift to the people of Lackawanna County while overlooking other issues, the University of Scranton, Marywood, and other nonprofits, including the hospital that just bailed out of here. While we see this, we're all part of this community. And the whole thing is about the people that make up the community, not the few politicians. And nothing is more disturbing than sitting back and see the coward Joe Biden eliminate his son from criminal charges that were black and white. Yet poor individuals, no matter who they are, if the system wants to put the screws to you, they will. I've been through it, and I know about dirty cops, dirty judges, and dirty lawyers, and I'll be glad to name every one of them anytime somebody wants to know. This is what's wrong with the system. Biden turned around. As far as I'm concerned, he's a damn coward. He walked away from the presidential race because he chickened out. Nobody in Lackawanna County or Scranton, let's be specific, would ever quit unless it was something major illness they would stay there fighting until the day they died before they will walk away. Biden's a coward, his son's a coward, and all those that helped eliminate this criminal empire, which it is, it's a total disgrace to all of us. Him using, oh, Scranton, I'm from Scranton, I did this. Well, if anybody recalls, Biden's one saying was, everything he learned for his career, he learned at 10 years old here in Scranton. So he learned here in Scranton, or Lackawanna County if you want, how to be corrupt. Isn't that a great way to say who we are, the influence to everybody here, yourselves, that this clown sits there? I'm an American, I'm a vet, fellow vets that died, and that idiot stood there looking at his watch when our people came off the plane that died thanks to him and the incompetence of his vice president, Harris. And to make it even more, we had trailers parked, and everybody knows I have the Trump trailers. I had the trailer for Harris with tampon Tim on it, with tampons sticking out his ears, parked on Montage Mountain. And guess what this illustrious vice president did? She threw me the finger coming down the road. And of course, we gave her two back to say hello and goodbye, you're finished. This is what we got. And now we have Hunter, who has zero credibility. Let's be realistic. While his brother was serving this country, he was taking his wife out and then later married him. This is integrity. Dope, women, drugs, lying about everything, and the father supports it. And the reason he parted him, because it was flowing downhill. It's going back to Joe Biden. And I could assure you, this isn't over with any stretch of the imagination. And this country should be grateful that we have Kash Patel, who's going to be the head of the FBI, that's going to straighten this community out. And I could assure you that. I'm on a personal relationship with him. Okay? We're making changes, and this whole community, this whole country, should get down on their knees and be thankful that we're going to have a leader who's about the people, not about the corruption and hiding it and doing everything he did. And the last damn thing he should be worried about is that Biden didn't give a damn about our troops, our fellow vets. Trump sure in hell did. He straightened out the VA. And if everybody forgot that, our vets got treatment. Thank you.
Thank you. Lee Morgan?
Good evening, Council. The first thing I'd like to say is that Bob Bowles is still doing his dinner this year at St. Pat's, so on Christmas Day, come on out. He forgot to mention that. Another thing I want to say is, you know, I'm going to wait for the new government to be installed in Washington, and I'm going to send a letter to Musk and Ramaswamy, if that's how you say that gentleman's name, to ask to have an investigation of all the grant money that came into the city of Scranton in my lifetime. I really think that the federal government needs to really take a good hard look at what's happened in this city in the course of my lifetime and what's happened to all this money. You know, you ask, you know, Mr. Smurl, I asked you to tell the residents what happened to the proceeds from the Scranton Sewer Authority. Did you ever do that?
No, I did not.
And why don't you do that? Do you represent the residents of this city? Are you a legislator for this city?
I believe so.
Are you ashamed of what's happened to that money?
No, I'm not.
Well, then why don't you tell the residents what happened to that money?
Well, I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah, what happened to the proceeds from the sale of the Scranton Sewer Authority?
I have the amounts that were paid, but
what's that?
I don't know everything that was paid. I have the amounts that were paid out.
Well, I think you should tell the residents what happened to every dime of that money and how much of it went into the pension fund and where that money went to. And I think that all 5 of the council members should do that, because the people I'm talking to in this city just can't believe their sewer and their water rates. The sewer authority was never put together to finance the city's debts. And anybody as old as me knows that when we were children, we used to watch toilet paper go down the Lackawanna River. Okay? But what's happened is, and that's why the federal government needs to come in here. Look at the Southside Sports Complex. Look at all the federal money that's come in here. Look at all the bids. I've been here for 40 years now. I've watched projects get bid out. You go look at the project, right? You take a look at the materials that went into it and the manpower hours, and you look at stuff and you wonder, it's not right. It's just a pay-to-play scheme. The residents deserve a lot better. And when you've got a council president who takes the water slide out at Naog that was probably worth $500,000, and you have to ask yourself, the mayor puts new people on the rec authority board. Look at the rent increases coming for the Scranton Housing Authority. Look at all the corruption we're buried under. All of it. You know, when you look at Joe Biden, like a previous speaker spoke, right? He sold his office as vice president and flew his son all over the world collecting money. Then he went and bought the DuPont mansion. How much was that, like $4.5 million? Here's a man that was sleepwalking through the presidency because he wasn't competent. From the minute they rolled him out to run, they knew that he wasn't mentally capable, but they didn't care because the people wanted to keep feeding at the public trough, just like this city has. And it's gone on for decades. All my children are gone because I made sure when my children were small, they never went to the Scranton School District. I took them to Abington. I wouldn't let the things happen to my children that other people let happen here, because it's just a disgrace what's happened here. And it's like the president says, we got to get rid of the Department of Education. We got to send education back to the states. We've got to get rid of the National Educational Association, whatever it takes. We've got to refocus this country. And you know, the amazing thing is, the whole world is changing the way it sees the world just because Trump was elected. Not just because of what's happened with the Canadians and the Mexicans. Even the UN, freedom of speech is coming back. But you know, Mr. Smurl, maybe if you're a legislator, you should begin to explain to the people what's happened to their sewer authority and that money, and what's happened to the city with all the grant money. I intend to ask a lot more questions. My only other question is, if we elect another mayor, I think we need to fire the board of directors of ECTV and turn that channel back over to the public. And I really think we need change in the direction of this city.
Thank you. Mike Mancini?
Good evening, Council. Mike Mancini, Scranton. I wish everybody a happy holiday and a happy new year. So this is your last meeting of the year. Let's see who answers questions this evening. This council has been effective simply because they do not answer the right questions or they just don't listen. Tonight I'm going to talk about facts. $500,000 to a third-party company from another county to inspect our pave cuts without asking how many will inspect and the number of hours dedicated weekly. That's a fact. This will not work. It's a waste of money without oversight. Our fines per day set at $100 does not get the utility company's attention. My recommendation, increase it to $1,000 per day. We're our own eyes on the problems. DPW is more than capable of handling the issue without a problem. Oh, wait, it's too late. $500,000 later, and only questions and nothing done. Not one of you has instructed Mr. Voldenberg to contact utility companies about properly sealing these pave cuts with tar. You are each just as much at fault for this lame duck mayor. That's a fact. Several lawsuits over $1 million to Hoffberg. None of this was part of the new budget. How were all these lawsuits paid for and settled if they were not in previous budgets? Any comments about Mrs. Flynn's lawsuit moving forward? due to burden of proof. Looks like our administration and a lame duck mayor will be decimated in the process. To treat any city employee to that extreme is flat out wrong. To single out our state senator's mother is stupidity at its finest. That's a fact. $114,000 to hang lights and decorations at Nayak Park for the holiday season is one of many examples of poor spending by this lame duck mayor. Was that in the budget? Who approved that? I heard that there were problems with the lighting and DPW had to rectify the problem. Volunteers were available to do the same very thing for free. That's a fact. This very same council approved substantial amount of money for marketing when it came to finding applicants qualified to take our Scranton police exam. 130 took it, and few were hired. Not one of you asked why. Our testing average is higher than the company's national average. We had a 7% pass rate. One of the most recent hires hit a tree. Not one of you questioned who it was or the story behind it. We know the story, the whole story. That's a fact. Our city looks the way it does because of the good people of Scranton trusted this lame duck mayor. Instead, we have an expansion team of out-of-towners who have no clue how to manage anything. This is one of the main reasons we have this current climate: crime, poor roads, one pool, and yet progress in 2025 from a lazy administration that has lost its pieces to the puzzle with no idea what it looks like. That's a fact. This Saturday, Penn State plays the Oregon Ducks. I wonder who this lame duck mayor will be rooting for. No, she will not be rooting for the good people of Scranton. That's a fact. We are the electric city. We are stronger than one person or a group of clueless people not from here. We are so deserving of someone who can lead our city with a vision for the betterment of the good people of Scranton. We are paying attention. We'll make our voice heard. We are ready for change. Oh, it's coming. Game on. Good evening, Council.
Thank you. That's all for our sign-in sheet. Anyone else wish to address council?
Greetings, members of council. Tom Coyne, Manuka. First of all, I also would like to wish a happy holiday season for whatever you follow and whatever faith you have. May you, your family, and everyone be safe, comfortable, and happy during this holiday season. At this time, we're all dealing with extreme water bills. That's a fact. What hasn't been put out a lot is there's a program called H2O Help by the American Water Company. It's out there. It was advertised 2 or 3 years ago. They did a campaign on it when they were doing rates previously and let people know it was out there. But ever since then, it's really not gotten a lot of information out there to the public. H2O Help, if you're a single person whose income is under $3,137 a month, or 200% of the federal poverty income guidelines, you can get help. What kind of help do they offer? $500 towards your water, one time for a year, $500 towards your water bill, and $500 towards your sewer bill. On top of that, when you qualify for it, you can get a 20 to 80% discount on your water bill rates, your delivery, your water usage, everything. So if you're truly the poor of the poor and you hop on this program, you can see your bills drop by 80% after them paying your back bills off for $500 a pop. But it seems that very little is out there to actually coordinate these groups, these organizations, for people in the community who desperately need them. There is no advertisement, there is no public information that they're out there. And a lot of people find out by either when they're at their last rope, or they get told they just don't know about it from someone else who's using the program. It's out there, but unfortunately we don't have people to coordinate for those in need. We have homeless advisory boards that the public isn't allowed to attend, who advise that they're going to do something in the future. Well, people suffer under the burdens of these fees. It would be nice if our local government took action to coordinate what resources are physically out there for our population in need, and actually made a place where they could come together and see everything that's out there. I've talked about this months beforehand in the loops by jumping between different departments because it's so isolated between neighbor works, public assistance, the electric company, the water company. Everything is handled in different sections. And unfortunately, unless you know all of the steps, there is no one out there with a roadmap to walk you. I'd like to congratulate you all on a 3-week extra holiday since you had August off. Now it looks like you're having December off. Unfortunately for us, even though it's not on the agenda, that eliminates 3 weeks of the public being able to comment on things that are important to them. I understand they can contact you directly, but sometimes getting before the public body is important, and even if nothing is on the agenda, it serves as a place to inform the community about things such as H2O help, which are important. I talked about the food resources in the budget and the funds for the homeless that were $10,000 apiece, that were on that list as unspent. Whether they were unspent or not, as of today, $27,111 has been spent for recycling that has been rejected and charged a higher rate by the landfill. So we've spent almost 250% of the entire yearly budget for food and shelter for those most in need, to pay for our garbage, our recycling, to be moved from the recycling plant to the garbage, and yet nothing has been done. By the end of this year, it'll be over $3,000. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, Council. I'm Rick Little from Scranton. Happy holidays. I agree with everything that Lee Morgan said. There needs to be an accounting of, from the top down, where the federal money goes. There really should be something in this whole municipal, county, state government, like a Department of Government Efficiency, because it's just a runaround. It's a runaround. Going to Matt Cartwright's office, you know, complaining about the courts. The courts are in big disarray. There needs to be an accounting of the courts. And this leads into what goes on. And I agree with Lee Morgan on the Electric City TV. I mean, that was a public access channel when I first came here, that the community, anybody in the community could put stuff in, but now it's taken over by the government. That has to change. And one of the things I think, in the very least, ECTV should cover the board meetings of the big agencies, because that's where the information comes out. I've been, for the last 5 months, I've been going to the Scranton Housing Authority meeting, and I'm usually like the only one there to speak, you know. And, you know, you speak, and they made a time limit there. You can speak for 5 minutes. And then they make the minutes, and a month later, it supposedly goes to the mayor. But these delays are crucial delays. And I was at the Scranton Housing Authority Board of Commissioners meeting last night, and there's like 50 people there, and they were really mad because they I don't know what the connection is, but there's this place called Park Towers where most of the people are on
Park Gardens.
Park Gardens, thank you. And you know, their rents raised 25%, and at the meeting it was revealed that yeah, over the last, it's raised like 4 times in the recent past. That's why there has to be, and I know from Scranton Housing Authority, they have like almost $9 million playing with, but they have their thing called delinquent. And this is a setup. Most of the people who live there have been, you know, they don't know what they get an eviction notice. They're gone. There's a bad relationship between 2 judges and the people that run the Scranton Housing Authority with due process. And since the city, the mayor appoints the people on this board, it's basically been the same board for about 30 years. And things just have to be more efficient. I've been led down rabbit holes by Northeast neighborhood housing. There's no housing around here, you know, and it starts at Scranton Housing Authority. They get millions and millions of dollars. They put it, you know, they say, oh, we put it into infrastructure, you know, and that's it. They only have to file with the federal government every 5 years, you know, and they say BS things like, oh, there's a federal inspection. There's no record of anything. And there's no record in the court, in the magistrate court, of all the thousands of people that have been evicted since at least 1996. And I go to Matt Cartwright, and he goes, oh, I need a FOIA, you know, and then I take the FOIA up to the county, and I get escorted out of the building. There has to be some sort of due process. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not,
Fifth order, 5A motions.
Mr. King, do you have any motions or comments?
One comment. I think that Mr. Coyne made a good point in terms of the multitude of services that are available in this community. That, maybe I'm wrong, but they seem to happen in silos. So I was wondering if we could reach out to the administration, Mr. Voldenberg, and ask them if they can assign someone on that administrative staff who can put together a list of all of the opportunities for poor and for the citizens out there, of opportunities like the program with Pennsylvania American Water Company at H2O, is that what? Yes, so that program, but there's many others, I believe, that are out there that are available to the citizens of this great city, and it can be very difficult and daunting, a daunting task for those less fortunate that are struggling, many of whom don't have access to computers or just struggle to be able to gather the information that could really help them out. So I'm wondering if we could ask our administration, our mayor, if they could assign someone to put together a list of all these programs that are available and put them in a single spot on the website, or just have that information available at City Hall so that people have the opportunity to access these programs that could truly have a major impact on their lives. So I appreciate if you could do that.
I'll reach out and report back.
Otherwise, I wish everybody a happy holiday. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. Mr. Schuster, any motions or comments?
Yes, I have a few. Since it is the holiday season and NARG has started their light show, Mr. Voldenberg, can we ask the BA's office, ask Eileen Cipriani, if she could just send an explanation of the process that was used for the city to get the contractor that's been contracted for the lights, and then where did those funds come from to pay that contractor?
I'll do that, sir.
Thank you. Can we also request of the BA's office a complete document of the ARPA funds, projects, expenditures, since it's the deadlines are this December? If we could just get that full list.
I'll get that information.
Thank you. I did ask a few meetings ago for an update on the next meeting for the Weston Field Skate Park. If we could also request what the next date is for that planning meeting of the skate park at Weston Field. And then two questions that we've asked for 2 weeks in a row. So we did ask, what is the cost to retain the software for Rubicon? I know that should be rolling out soon, but the administration was in here for caucus. I think 3 to 4 weeks ago, we asked what the price was. We didn't receive an answer. And the last 2 weeks we've asked, but if we could find out what that cost is for the software. And then last week I did ask about the Sorrenti Center and if there's been any trainings for outside agencies, whether they use the computer system over there or whether we've just had, if the police department or fire department or any of the city groups have done any trainings for outside agencies that would have charged a fee.
I'll take care of it.
Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Schuster. Dr. Rothchild, do you have any motions or comments?
I do, yes. I just have one thing that I wanted to get forwarded to code enforcement. It's property I've gotten complaints about in the past. So the blighted area around Prescott Avenue. It's on the corner of Prescott Avenue and Vine Street, and it was the old Vine Street gas station that since has been deterioration. And there are probably a few dozen tires that have shown up over there on that property. So I'm not sure if they were dumped there or what is going on. And there's often like different vehicles parked there, and I'm not sure what's going on with that property, but if they could get over there for any quality of life violations.
I'll have code enforcement and DPW look into it.
Thank you, I appreciate it. And it's a shame because the old Prescott Bingo Hall has actually been taken over, and they renovated and updated it and have made it into like a community center, I believe, for the Indian community in the neighborhood. And it was really nice to see that building rehabbed. I think it was being used for apartments before, but on either side of it, you've got the one apartment building that previously had a fire that I think we're trying to sort out what to do with. And then you've got the Vine Street Station on the opposite side, so it's kind of wedged in between these two blighted properties. That's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rothschild. Mr. McAndrew, do you have any motions or comments?
I have a couple. So every week when we sit here during fifth order and ask questions that Mr. Voldenberg sends on to administration, the following week, we sometimes get answers, or at least there's information on its way, or it's pending, or so. The one that bothers me the most, so the Rubicon software cost retention. We asked this, Mr. Schuster, I hate to correct you, but it's like 4 weeks ago. And we asked it multiple times. And when first asked during the budget work sessions, we were told that, oh yeah, we got that number. We'll get it to you next week. We got it. Guess what? It's 4 weeks, we haven't got it. So please, I mean, this is beyond ridiculous. You know, they bragged how great this program is working. I had never believed so. And I've said, you know, of course we need to retain the software, but, you know, we have to approve that. So when are they going to tell us how much it's going to cost? If you could please, Mr. Voldenberg, let's get us an answer.
I will, sir.
I know it's not you. You're waiting just as much as we are. So like I said, so that's a question we asked last week. We asked every week. We didn't get an answer. But so here's another question I asked last week about the Novembrino Park. The consistency in locking this park, it hasn't been going well. I mean, I constantly get complaints that it's damaged, that the gates are open, the doors are open, there's motorcycles, there's all kinds of stuff going on in there, ripping up trees, damaging equipment. So the response I got, I said, you know, what's the policy? There's got to be a policy, you know, for all the parks to be secured and safe at night. And so what I got back was the park has an employee who locks the gates at Novembrino before leaving at 6 p.m. And okay, that's every day, supposedly. And then on weekends, either an employee or the director or manager will lock it. The Parks Department reviewed all parks in August. I also asked about signage and clarity of it, with regards to, you know, sun up, sun down, whatever, no trespassing. Because I've heard different interpretations from residents that it's not clear to them. So they said in August, for proper signage, they took care of that supposedly, but they'll review again. And with regard to cameras, they said Parks, IT Department, and the SPD are in constant communication about safety, including the cameras. So I'm glad to hear all this. Let's just hope it continues, because it wasn't happening. But I think I mentioned it. I think it was well received. I'm not sure yet. But a resident offered to lock Novembrino Park up at night, in case someone forgets that this seems to be happening. And I guess this resident's father in the past, maybe when he was a child, would lock the park, which is pretty cool. So that's, you know, and it's great that this resident wants to take ownership and step up and do that for us. So let's make sure, that, you know, administration's aware of that and what their response will be for that. All right, if you don't mind.
I'll do that.
Okay, and then, you know, we've had a little dialogue since before school started about increasing the rate for the crossing guards, which they're grossly underpaid for the amount of responsibility and first line of defense for our kids every morning, getting, and you know, and the terrible weather that, you know, that they have to deal with, probably this Thursday morning, this Thursday morning. So I know there's been discussion back and forth with the Scranton School District as to, you know, how they're going to arrive at a decision. I know everybody up here, from what I remember, is in favor of it. But Solicitor Gilbride, do you know where them discussions are right now, or if there's any movement, or?
The last conversation I had with the school district was that the plan to do that was after the first of the year. The city administration and the school district were going back and forth on other issues, but there did not seem to be any holdup on providing a pay increase to the crossing guards.
Okay, well, we'll check back after break, okay? And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McAndrew.
Five B, no business at this time. Sixth order, no business at this time. Seventh order, 7A, for consideration by the Committee on Public Safety for adoption, filed to Council number 48, 2024, authorizing the police officers of the City of Scranton to arrest without a warrant pursuant to 42 PA-CS Section 8902.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Safety?
As chairperson for the Committee on Public Safety, I recommend final passage of item 7A.
Second.
On the question?
On the question, I believe this was discussed during caucus. If I'm correct, Attorney Gilbride, this just brings our legislation in line with what's required. Is that fair to say?
That is correct. The procedures that are outlaid in this ordinance are already being followed and have been for a substantial period of time by our officers. As you are all aware, the Scranton Police Department is going for certification by the the police organization statewide. In order for that to occur, one of the things that must happen is that the city's ordinance must basically mimic what their procedures are. So basically, all we're doing is cleaning up our ordinances to make sure that they match the procedures that our police are already following.
Thank you, Attorney Gilbride. That's all.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7A legally and lawfully adopted.
7B for consideration by the Committee on Public Works for adoption, filed to Council number 49, 2024, amending street openings and excavations code to adjust the calculation method and schedule of inspection fees and related permit provisions.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Works?
As chairperson for the Committee on Public Works, I recommend final passage of item 7B.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7B legally and lawfully adopted.
7C for consideration by the Committee on Public Works for adoption, resolution number 165, 2024, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a contract with Mid-Atlantic Engineering, Inc. to perform pave cut inspections.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Works?
As chairperson for the Committee on Public Works, I recommend final passage of item 7C.
Second.
On the question,
On the question, last week I had asked, in the backup, it states that there's no cost to the city. However, in the budget, there are some revenues and there are some expenditures in regards to pave cuts. It looks as though everything is going to be reimbursed. I had some questions last week about the backup documentation indicated no cost. However, there has to be some sort of cost as money was is on line items. The answer I did get was that utilities are going to apply for pave cut permits, and the costs are going to be tracked through the OpenGov financial system. Really didn't. I understand how it's being tracked through this system, but it really didn't answer my question. But that was the answer I did receive in regards to this contract.
roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
No.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7C legally and lawfully adopted.
7D for consideration by the Committee on Public Safety for adoption, resolution number 166, 2024, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a contract with Axon Enterprise, Inc. for certain police technology and equipment.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Safety?
As chairperson for the Committee on Public Safety, I recommend final passage of item 7D.
Second?
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7D legally and lawfully adopted.
7E for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, resolution number 167, 2024, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and submit a grant application by the Office of Economic and Community Development of the City of Scranton on behalf of the Scranton Cultural Center to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, acting through the Commonwealth Financing Authority for a local share account grant for up to $346,000 to be used towards the Scranton Cultural Center HVAC renovation project.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7E.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7E legally and lawfully adopted.
7F, previously tabled, for consideration by the Committee on Finance for adoption, filed to Council number 42, 2024, as amended, appropriating funds for the expenses of the city government for the period commencing on the first day of January 2025 to and including December 31st, 2025, by the adoption of the general city operating budget for the year 2025.
Second. I make a motion to amend item 7F as follows. The Office of City Clerk, City Council Professional Services, item 100, 44201, 120, 000, 000, 000, increased by $12,500 from $125,000 to $137,500. Under Human Resource Professional Services, item 100, 44201, 140, 141, 000, 000, increased by $7,500 from $878,000 to $885,500. Human Resources Liability and Casualty Insurance item number 100, 44, 630, 140, 141, 000, 000, decreased by $10,000 from $2,650,000 to $2,640,000. Business Administration Operating Transfer. Workers' Compensation item 100, 44, 714, 140, 140, 000, 000, decreased by $10,000 from $3,900,000 to $3,890,000.
On the question. All those in favor of the amendments to item 7F signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pardon me, Mr. President.
I'm sorry.
Before we go to the vote, we're going to need a second to Mr. King's motion. Second. To amend.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's what it is.
Now you can go on to the question and then vote on the amendment.
Okay, on the question? All those in favor of the amendment to item 7F signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved. What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Finance?
As chairperson for the Committee on Finance, I recommend final passage of item 7F as amended.
Second.
On the question?
Oh, on the question. So, over the years, council has done its due diligence when it comes to the budget. I didn't want that to be forgotten. Looking back over the last several budgets in 2020, 2021, 2022, council drastically reduced expenditures in areas of new hires, salary increases, and at times during this period of time, the mayor even refused to sign the budget and allowed it to go into law. But savings were made and legacy costs were reduced. Tax increases were proposed for 2 years with proposals from the mayor, and council decreased those tax percentages with the resident in mind, reducing the number of hires and salary increases. Although I did not vote in an affirmative for those two budgets because it didn't appear that additional positions and salaries were being funded on the backs of because it did appear that the additional positions and salaries were being funded on the backs of the taxpayer. Last year I even proposed my own budget that had no tax increase, but I would like to say that for several years council has worked hard to reduce expenditures and get us to the point that we're at today where no tax increase is being presented to the city. Just to look at this budget, though, in general, it's being considered that it's reduced by $5.6 million this year as opposed to last year. However, capital projects have been removed from the operating budget this year, and they total $5.6 million. So in reality, the budget's exactly the same as it was last year. It's about $118 million if you include those capital projects. Also, something that's different with this budget is the pension contribution has been reduced by $8.6 million. So there has been increases to the budget moving forward. I would have liked to have seen this year we take a little bit deeper of a dive. I would have liked to have seen some of those double-digit salaries curtailed, and because some of those people have been given large increases over the last several years. But these things are just a small portion of the budget in totality, but I did want to make sure that the hard work of council over the last few years and what we put into it wasn't overlooked, and it's gotten us to the point where this year we're not looking at a tax increase. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Schuster. Anyone else?
Yeah, so for the past 2 years, I voted no for the budget. And the reason being, there was a tax increase that, in my mind and with my math, equated to the same amount that was going to be given for new positions and large substantial raises. So there's no tax increase this year. I'm happy. Everybody, all you guys are, everybody's happy. But my recommendation regarding amendments, I mean, we finally make a couple cuts, or it looks like we're making cuts. We don't have to increase taxes. So, but I still felt, and I still feel that the department head increases should have been scaled back, as they've been substantial over the past 3 years. Efforts to achieve parity with other municipalities should be incremental. There should be less. And that's not happening. So it's been a pattern, in my eyes, that those that are here the least have received the most. So I'll be voting yes, but only because I'm not going to be a hypocrite. There's no tax increase. I voted for the past 2 budgets that had one, but I'm going to be voting yes with reservation.
Thank you, Mr. McAndrew.
On the question, I'm also proud of the work that we've done on the budgets over the years, and happy again that we have a balanced budget for 2025, and especially happy that there's no tax increase in there. I think over the years we have incrementally increased many of the salaries, but we were still woefully behind in many of them compared to other cities. And I think, at times we've had a tough time keeping people in some of those positions as a result of the salaries. So, I do feel like many of the salary increases were warranted, and I appreciate all of the hard work that our employees put into working for the city of Scranton and for the residents. So I just wanted to make sure to thank everyone who works for the city, and I'll be saying yes to this budget.
Thank you, Dr. Rothchild.
On the question, this is my 3rd budget. I voted for the 2 previous budgets, which included tax increases. A tremendous amount of time and effort went into studying that budget and trying to make reductions. I believe the first year, the mayor had asked for a 3.5% increase, and we were able to whittle that down to 2%. Last year, there was a request for a 3% increase, and we got it down to 2%. I think it's important to note, when I first started on this council in 2022, we just came out of Act 47 after 30 years of financial distress. We've come a long way in the last 3 years. We went from no credit rating whatsoever to a BBB- credit rating, refinanced a $36 million bond, which saved the taxpayers $2 million, and got our credit rating up to BBB+. PEL had recommended, as we came out of financial distress, to do some incremental tax increases. I think that we've done the right thing. We've done the prudent thing. I think that we've been financially responsible and put ourselves in a position where the city's in a pretty stable financial situation now. We obviously have to keep our eye on the ball as things move forward, but I'm very proud of the work of this council over the last few years to try to do the right things. It's never easy to have to raise or increase taxes. When we increase taxes for all the citizens, we're increasing them for ourselves. Not something you ever enjoy having to do, but I am a believer that doing incremental tax increases is a must in this day and age, especially in light of contractual obligations, healthcare costs constantly going up. We have pension obligations, so it is important to do some small incremental tax increases, and we've done that responsibly to the point where this year we put ourselves in a position where we could give the taxpayers a break. So I'm proud to support this 0 tax increase budget this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7F as amended, legally and lawfully adopted.
8A, filed to council number 42, 2024. 8B, filed to council number 43, 2024, remains on the table.
So this will be our last meeting of this year. We will start again next year on Tuesday, the January the 7th. I wish everyone a happy holiday with their family and friends, and we'll see you on January 7th. I'll entertain a motion to, if there's no further business, to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
This meeting is adjourned.